Hello everyone. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel, Get Crafty with Sally. My name is Sally Poole and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Albany, Oregon. Welcome. Today I am going to be showing you how I made a card with the Mixed Florals bundle. This is an online exclusive. It is not in the catalog. It was unavailable for a little bit, but now it is back online to order. The only die that I used was this one that goes with this flower piece here. So let's set that aside. And this is the card that I'll be making today. I think it's really pretty. I will be coloring with my Stampin Blends, but don't worry, it doesn't take very long to color this. You'll see, I promise. So let's set that right there. This is all that you're going to need to make this card well, adhesive, etc. So you can either grab a screenshot of this, or as always, I will have a PDF linked down below this video in the description box, so you can just click on that and it'll open to show you these measurements and the supplies that I used. So let's get started. I do have one more thing before we jump in. A couple of weeks ago I demonstrated a fault line card. Do you remember this one with the torn papers? And I had a drawing for people that left comments. I do have a winner. The winner is at Heidi Keeney 5218. At Heidi Keeney 5218. So if you will just send me an email at dannydog75@hotmail.com. Give me your mailing address. I will pop this in the mail for you as soon as I get that. So congratulations, Heidi, for being a winner. Okay, back to the card. So let's get, let's see. I'm going to scoot this aside. I've already done some stuff ahead of time, excuse me, so I always confuse myself with that. I do already have 3 of the stamped images. If you are one of those people that likes to make multiple cards like I do at the same time, this is a good way to do that, and it really doesn't take you much longer to color 3 of them than it does 1, because you can just have one of your Stampin' Blends open and go from image to image, close it up, get the next one, instead of opening, closing, opening, closing. So I'm going to grab my chair and we will start. Let me mention that this background paper that I used, the pink, is from an older paper pack called Dainty Flowers, if you remember this. So you don't have to use this paper. Obviously you can use whatever you want. Find a paper that you like and then match your Stampin' Blends up to that paper, and I think that you'll just be tickled pink. So first, since I'm left-handed and I have to turn everything upside down, I'm going to start with a light pretty in pink, and then we'll go to dark pretty in pink. And I'm going to use the brush tip end on all of these. I'm only going to color one of these right now. So I'm just quickly, and you don't have to be precise and exact. I kind of like the sloppy watercolor-y look. So how many minutes are we into the video? 5, and my dog already started snoring. What does that say? So there's one. We'll do this little one down here. And I made a little boo-boo right there in that flower, and I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so that is our light, pretty in pink. Even though this designer series paper is actually Blushing Bride, I think this color goes really well with it. This cardstock piece is also Blushing Bride. So again, you can pick whatever you want, match things up. Some of you might not have Blushing Bride. So the next thing I'm going to do is take my dark, pretty in pink, brush end, and I'm not going to color completely over everything. I'm just going to make some little lines down these petals. Just adds a little bit of depth to those petals. So that's it for the pinks. Next, I'm going to use Light Mango Melody. And we'll use it on the center of this flower. I don't know if this is a daisy or might be a cone flower, I'm not sure. And then I'm going to take my dark Mango Melody, and I'm just gonna like dot where these dots are, but I'm not taking the time to exactly dot the dots. I'm just dotting. Hopefully that makes sense. Now let's take our light fresh freesia, and we will color all of these little cute flowers. I'm excited with the new release coming up Tuesday for demonstrators, the holiday mini. I do have several things that I want, which really isn't normal for me. And then I always forget that Stampin' Up! Doesn't normally release everything to the demonstrators on a pre-order that's in the catalogs. So there might only be a few things that I want that I can get. Now I'm going to take my dark fresh freesia, and I'm going to do the little dot in the middle and kind of go around the edges, but not really. I'm just squiggling here and there just to add a little bit of that other color. So there's no precise way that you have to do this. So see how quickly this is going? Next, I'm going to do the little leaves in light old olive. Oh, there he goes. Jasper is the dog that can't hear very well, but somehow I think he can feel cars and trucks and stuff going by out front. So he usually starts grumbling and growling, but I did close the door up there in the front barking room so he can't get in there. So now I've got my dark old olive, and I am going to color the underside of, there's two of these leaves. Totally solid color that. And then I'm gonna just quickly do some lines where Stampin' Up! Has given us their little shadow line-ish. And I'm not going to go over it again with the light. You can if you want. And for the actual stem, I am using light Granny Apple Green. Stems, I guess I should say. And then I'm going to take the dark Granny Apple Green, make a few dark lines. I don't know if you can see the nib on this one. It's all funkied out. Looks like something chewed on it, but it still works. And I am going to go back to my light Granny Apple Green and blend that a little bit. You don't have to. Probably doesn't make that big of a difference. Okay, so that's it for the coloring. See, that wasn't so bad. So we'll set all of those pins aside, and now we can commence to putting our card together. That just needs to be cut out with the die. It fits really nicely. I usually put a couple little pieces of the Post-it note tape on there before I run it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So let's grab our, I hope I have everything here. Let's grab our, I'm not going to need that. I'm not going to need that because I already, for this one, I have already stamped and cut my image. So I don't need that one. And then for this one, I have already cut this little piece that's the background under the flower. And for this, I cut it out with a die from the Textured Notes dies sets that goes with this Textured Note set. And it is the third from the largest. It's kind of, I don't know, it's got lines horizontally and diagonally. It kind of looks like bamboo. And then I embossed it with my favorite little floral folder, Ornate Floral 3D. So that's what we're going to use for that. So I also don't need this because I already stamped the greeting. Happiest birthday to you from the flower cart set. So let's see. I will also mention that, if I can find my inks, any image that I'm going to color, I normally use Memento Tuxedo Black ink. It doesn't smear very often. I really don't think I've ever had it smear. And then for my sentiments, I always use VersaFine Clair Nocturne. It is a really black ink. A lot of times if you stamp an image with that and go to color it, it will smear. So I don't even bother. So let's take we've got our card base. This is Blushing Bride, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm gonna fold it in half, score it with my bone folder, give that a good press. And we will take our 3 3/4 by 5, and I only made it this size because I had a strip of this paper left, and this is what I wanted to use, and it was 3 3/4 inches. So I figured out what size the rectangle came out pretty close to the normal size of the other stuff. And then this is, that's the white background layer, and it is 4 1/16 by 5 5/16. Sometimes I like to do that to show a little bit more of the card base color. So let's take our green glue and we will glue this piece of Designer Series paper to our piece of basic white paper. And I guess I better stand up. And now I have a dog underneath my feet. And white on white is not very good for my eyes. I should have grabbed a piece of colored scrap paper. Okay, and then for this layer, I think I will just use my tape runner. You can glue it too if you want. And then we will attach that to our card base. And now for this little embossed piece, I'm trying to scoot my chair back up here and not get on the dog. I am going to pop it up on dimensionals. So you know me with dimensionals. I like to keep Stampin' Up in business. So I usually use quite a few, especially when it's got another big piece that's going to sit on top of it. I kind of want to do that row, and I don't know if I did, a little bit below center. I don't think I did. Guess it doesn't matter which way that goes. I'll just turn it over that way. So then I'm going to put 2 there, and I'll center these a little bit better than that because I'm going to run my piece of ribbon through there. So let's take all these little covers off. And I'm already sweating over tying the bow on the ribbon. I don't know why I have such a hard time doing that when I'm recording a video. I guess maybe it's because I'm so picky, but I kind of feel like I need to be a little quicker on the video. I don't want to lose all my watchers or put everybody to sleep, and Willow snoring probably doesn't help any. Okay, so there is that piece popped up. So now, instead of putting this behind there and trying to lay it down with the dimensionals and all that, you can usually just feed that right through there. It comes out the other side. So I am going to match my little ends up and pull everything so it is even-ish on the left. And I'm going to try to hold this over here while I'm tying it with I guess it's the edge of my hand, because when you tie it and pull it, this is going to want to kind of roll up. I am going to tie a square knot. I probably will need my third hand, which is my mouth. Maybe not. I think that worked. So there's my knot. Now, which way is my bow gonna want to go? Do my little rabbit ears. And then I think my little bow is not going any way that I wanted it to go, but that's fine. And I want it a little smaller than that. So this is all the fiddly stuff that takes me forever on a bow. I'm going to poke that through that loop if I can, and see if I can get it to lay down better. Maybe. Still too big. Okay, I think that is good enough. So now I am actually going to put a little dot of glue right underneath that ribbon to hold it in place there. And then I'm going to put glue on the back of this flower image. You don't want it right on the top, that top little purple flower, because it is going to go off of the embossed panel. And then you probably have 1/8 of an inch at the bottom that also comes off the embossed panel. So let's lay this down on our embossed panel. I'm running into my ribbon. And try to get it straight-ish where we think it looks good. Then I'm going to grab my good scissors, cut the little ends of the ribbon. I'm not sure which way I'm going now. I'm not sure because it's not in the right place. So I think I did that one wrong, which nobody's probably ever going to notice. All right. That looks pretty good. So now I am going to add some Winkostella to my pink petals. I just opened this, brand new, got it going, gave it a squeeze. I am gonna, of course a big puddle came out like always happens. I do, and I'm not gonna color in the whole thing. I'm kind of just going over the petals like I did with the darker pink. And then when I added my Winkostella, I thought, why not also use some Dazzling Diamonds? I don't think I've ever used both of them together. If you don't know, Dazzling Diamonds is a glitter Stampin' Up! Product. It's older, really old, then it retired, then it came back a few years ago, and it retired again. You can use any glitter you want. I just happen to have a bunch of this. I like it, and I use it. So let me make sure this little glue pen is working, and this is a quickie glue pen. I usually get them from Amazon. Sometimes they don't have them. They usually do. I'm just going to put a dot of glue in the center of these little flowers, and when the glue comes out of this pen, it is actually blue, but it does dry clear. So there's my glue, and I'm just going to sprinkle some of my Dazzling Diamonds on my little purple flowers. I will bring that up to the camera and try to show it to you. I'm guessing that you're not going to be able to see it or the Wink of Stella because they just never do show up for some reason. Anyway, it's a fun look for this card. I'm also going to add a few iridescent pearls, basic jewels. I'm not sure why I closed my package up. I'm going to grab my tweezers, excuse my reach, and I usually just use the little teeny ones of everything. So I'm going to put one up here, and I'll put another one over here, and one over here. And I did not put my sentiment on here yet. So since this white embossed piece is up on dimensionals, I'm going to add a little dimensional to this corner. Let me see if I have any that are cut. There's a little piece. So we'll just put that right on that end. I'm going to add a little bit of my green glue. You could have done this before the Dazzling Diamonds. It's up to you, doesn't matter. So I'm going to lay this right down across the bottom here, kind of halfway through this pink, and try to get it straight, which I always think things are straight until I look at them the next day. Does that happen to you? Okay, that is our card. The only other thing you would want to do to this, possibly, and I always do it, I just don't do it in my videos, I always put a piece of basic white cardstock in here. I cut it at 4 inches by 5 1/4, just so you have a nice white space to write on. So that is our sweet little card from the Mixed Florals bundle. There's my original sample. There's that one. And then I also did one with the background is fresh freesia. I didn't change the way that I colored the floral image. It's still the pink and the fresh freesia. So those are my cards for the day. Let me know what you think about them. Do you like to color? I love to color. I don't usually want to take the time to do it. But as you saw, this really is a quick image to color with your Stampin' Blends, or you could watercolor it, or colored pencils would be great. Anyway, if you're getting anything out of my videos, please hit the like button, give me the thumbs up, share my video with your friends and family. And if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. It really helps my channel grow, and I really appreciate all you out there. I just hit 4,000 subscribers last week or the week before, which to me is a huge amount. I remember when I first started my YouTube account and I had 7 subscribers, I was so excited. So it really does mean a lot, and I appreciate all of you. Thanks for stopping by and spending some time with me today. I will see you next time, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.